guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Echo, Carl's Path. So, man, there's been quite a bunch of crazy things going on in this game, and we're getting to the point where I think things are about to ratchet up. So anyway, guys, please sit back and enjoy. Let me entertain you for the next 20 minutes, and let's jump right in. Alarm changer up, and let's go. Okay. Wind blows pleasantly through my fur, seeping underneath and cooling my sweating skin. The smells of the desert, sagebrush, and dirt overwhelm my senses. Everything is black around me, but there are millions of stars above me. I hear the smattering of small feet running circles around my body, snuffling of noses up against my sides and neck. Mixed into the sounds of the wilder words, languages I don't understand, chanting and singing, the sounds of dancing, then another language. I hear a word or two that I learned from Leo years ago, and then my own language. Yeah. And above it all is a maniacal cackling, one that builds and fades before choking off into a sob. What the fuck? The first feeling I have is one of confusion. I feel stiff and cold, and I'm lying back on something hard. I expect to see stars above me, but when I open my eyes, all I see is blackness. Panic starts to well up inside me. My breathing quickens, and though it's hard and painful, I manage to push myself up into a sitting position. That's when I see a gentle glow coming from an opening about 30 feet away from me. Where am I? The last thing I remember was the lake. Wait, no, Carl's house is the last thing I remember. We went back to his house after the lake. Did I fall asleep in his house somewhere? I feel around on the floor with my hands and can feel wood underneath me. It creaks as I shift around. Carl? My voice comes out hard and crackly. I have to lick my lips several times to keep them from sticking together. I'll call out again, but more softly this time because now I'm starting to wonder if someone else brought me here. When I don't hear anything, I start to crawl forward, towards the light. My head throbs a little, and then there's a coppery taste in my mouth. Probing my tongue around, I taste the sour of bites along my cheeks. I start to run through a list of things that could have happened. I was in Carl's basement, then I just sort of seized up. Did someone hit me over the head? I stop crawling and start moving my hands around in my body and over my head. No sign of any injuries. Aside from the cheek bites, it's really just the inside of my heart and my head that hurts. While I do this, lucidity starts to return in waves as if a dam is broken and all my senses are falling back into place. At the same time, the panic starts to return as I realize how much this doesn't make sense. Someone had to have brought me here, wherever here is. I start crawling again, trying to keep my panic under control. I'm almost to the glow, but it's weird because it's coming from the ground. As I get closer, I hear a soft brushing behind my head. I tense and look over my shoulder. I'm greeted by the sight of inky blackness, so dark that it almost feels alive, and I get the impression of a giant mouth opening up in front of my face. The imagery gives me a bit of a jolt, and I lunge forward, deciding to get up on my feet so I can move fast. And then I'm falling, but not for long. My senses are full of light now, and I throw my hands forward to catch myself. But I keep falling, and the split second before I hit, I realize there's a ladder. I instinctively grab at it, but my head hits the rungs at first, and I flip forward before landing on my feet. Oh, God. It happens on weak ankles, though when my right foot gives out and my ankle rolls, I hear a series of pops before the rest of my body hits the floor. What the fuck? I lay there for a moment, the sudden noise and violence of the fall stunning me. In my stupor, I feel a cold spiderweb of electricity pulsing from my ankle, and that's what spurs me to move. I pull myself into a sitting position to clutch at it. Fuck! The pain isn't really bad, but something is definitely wrong, and I'm not sure if I can just walk it off. That's when I notice my surroundings. A long hallway stretches out to either side of me, lit by decorative chandeliers. Looking up, I see that I've fallen down a drop-down ladder from a small square in the ceiling. What the hell? I look back down at my ankle. I wiggle it around and immediately feel another pulse of electricity that feels much more painful this time around. I grip my teeth as I spread my hands out against the wall behind me, pushing myself up slowly, making sure to not put any weight on my injured ankle. As I'm doing this, I hear a soft clopping sound coming from my right. At the end of the hall, it looks like it takes a sharp right, and it sounds like the noises are coming from that turn. My throat tightens, and I press myself harder up against the wall. I see a shadow slide up the carpet at the end of the hallway, and I hold my breath. The shadow stops too, and I get the feeling that whatever it is might be holding its own breath. Finally, the tension gets to me, and I clear my throat nervously. Carl? Chase! Carl! I let out a gasp of relief and almost sagged down the wall. More clopping of footsteps, and Carl appears around the corner. His eyes are wide and his nostrils flare. He stumbles up to me, his hands clasped together nervously. Holy shit, dude, it's so fucking good to see you! I press up harder against the wall, taking more weight off my foot. What the hell's going on? I don't know, I just woke up. You okay? He looks at me, then down at my foot. Are you hurt? I gesture up at the ladder. I fell down that thing! Carl looks up at the ladder in the dark hole it leads up to. What were you doing up there? I don't know, I just woke up in the dark and tried to crawl out. Shit! Carl bends down to look at my ankle, which is clearly starting to swell. Can you walk? I think so, kind of. He stands back up and looks around. Chase! I don't know what's going on. I just woke up in a bedroom up the hall like 20 minutes ago. Is this not part of your house? Carl lets out a breathy, incredulous laugh. No, definitely not. I was trying to find a window, but I can't. Maybe we're in a basement or something. The last thing I remember is your crawl space. Why would they have an attic in a basement? I look back up at the dark hole in the ceiling. Maybe it's not an attic. Chase, I'm freaking out! And it shows, too. His breathing is picking up, his wide nostrils flaring again. I reach out and put a hand on his shoulder, giving some reassuring squeezes. No, it's okay. Maybe we got really high or drunk or something. What's the last thing you remember? Carl starts clicking his fingers together again, looking away up the hall. The lake? Yeah, I remember we went back to your house, then down to the basement, and then... Carl frowns. I don't remember. I watch him carefully. But then I remember looking behind the plastic bins, and there was this... Help! We both jump as the scream comes from right down the hall. Carl and I both look at each other, wide-eyed. What the hell? Hello? Is someone out there? That sounds like Raven. Carl starts to hesitantly walk up the hallway, and I move to follow, and immediately regret it as I put weight on my ankle. It's completely stiff now, and pain shoots up into my shin like lightning. My gasping causes Carl to turn around in confusion, then his eyes light up when he sees my leg. Ah, shit! Here! He reaches out, and I wrap an arm around his neck. He's sturdy and strong, easy to lean against, and I sigh with relief as I take the weight off my injured ankle. Somebody! We hobble our way down the hall, following the sound of Raven's panicked voice. We take a left at the end of the hall and are confronted with an almost identical hallway to the last. What the fuck is going on here? That's when I start to smell smoke. Do you smell that? Carl puts his nose up. Something burning? Oh, God. Help me! I almost jump up again as the sound comes from the right on our left, the only door on the left side of the hallway. We both look at the door for a moment. Carl's ears perked straight up. We both jump as the door shakes from several heavy bashes that rattle the frame. Help! The cry is mournful, like he's given up. Raven! The shaking and pounding stops. Carl? Carl! The voice instantly turns hopeful, and the voice grows muffled, as if Raven is pressing his muzzle right up against the door. I'm stuck! The door won't open, and there's a fire! What? Chase! There's something burning on the stove, or something, I can't see it! Me and Carl look at each other in bewilderment. Guys! It's really getting really smoky in here, I can't really see anything! He gives a cough. It's really hard to breathe! Alright, hold on a second, man, we'll get you out! Carl shifts me to the wall so I can lean against it, then tries the doorknob. Yeah, hey, what the fuck is going on here? The knob barely turns, clearly locked. Shit! Yeah, it's locked! It's getting really hot in here! Hold on! Carl shoves his shoulder up against the door. It gives a few creaks, but otherwise stays solid. Please, help! His plaintive whimpering is barely audible through the thick wood. What kind of lock is it? Maybe we can pick it. Carl studies the knob. Huh, I don't think a paperclip is going to work. I lean in to look and find myself staring at an old-fashioned keyhole. The hell? Raven, can you unlock it from that side? No, there's nothing here. Guys, I can't breathe. His voice is getting desperate again. There's no other way out? No other door in there? Raven doesn't answer, and Carl and I both wait for a good 10 seconds. Raven? Ah! We both jump for the third time before Carl presses his face up to the door. Raven! Raven, what happened? For a few seconds, all we hear is coughs, and Raven's voice is lower, up against the bottom of the door as if he's laying down. Something's in the smoke! Help! Wait, what's in the smoke? My mind flashes back to what I heard in the attic. Something! I can't see! Open the door! Fuck! Alright, man, stand back! I don't know if he's talking to me or Raven, but I take a step back anyway. Carl takes a step back, then throws his body forward, smashing up against the door. It shudders a bit, and I hear a crack or two, but otherwise there's no change. He tries it again, the same result. Carl, I don't think that's gonna work! Carl doesn't say anything, instead backing up until his back touches the opposite wall. He takes a deep breath, then charges forward, his head down this time. Instinctively, I close my eyes, imagining Carl snapping his neck right in front of me. The impact is much louder this time, and it's accompanied by a crunch. When I open my eyes, it's not Carl's neck that's broken, but rather the wooden door. Carl's head has completely busted through the door so that his head is poking into the other side. I stare, expecting to see the tendrils of black smoke snaking out of the broken door, but there's nothing. Carl sets his hands on either side of the door, apparently, taking a look around. Raven, you okay? I walk up to Carl's side and put a hand on his back. Carl, what is it? Is there a fire? Carl braces himself up against the door before he pushes back, yanking his head out of the opening. He comes up with a bunch of wooden splinters clinging to his head for a beard and sweatshirt. Nothing! I duck down and look through the opening as well, taking care to keep my weight off my injured foot. What the fuck? I'm greeted to the side of a brightly lit dining room and kitchen, but it's clear no smoke in sight. It was completely black in here a second ago. I look down at the trembling voice of Raven below me and see the husky curled up, his head poking up from his fetal position. Hey, Chase! Hi. I don't know what happened. There was smoke everywhere. It's like when you opened the door, it all got sucked out. I sniff, and I know I can't even get a whiff of smoke aside from the residual taste I still have of it in the back of my throat. I hear a click next to my head and look over to see the doorknob twist. I pull my head out of the hole and Carl pulls the door open. Are you kidding me? It was locked, right? It was definitely locked. Raven gets up, brushing shaky hands down his shirt. You okay, man? Yeah, I just thought I was going to die for a second. I watch as Raven struggles to keep his ears perked. What happened? Raven takes a deep breath. I don't know. I just woke up in here and smoke just started coming out from the stove, or the oven, or something. You said you saw something? Yeah, something in the smoke. It looked like arms or something. Carl and I look at each other. But it might have just been the smoke. I look around the room, scanning it for any sign of the black smoke that Raven was so adamant about having seen. I don't think he was just seeing things because I'm pretty sure I hadn't imagined the smell. I promise I'm not lying. It's just what I saw. I think the bigger issue here is that we're here at all. I mean, where the hell is here? I spread my hands out, giving an incredulous laugh. I thought maybe it was another part of your house. Raven looks at Carl. I mean, I went downstairs after you guys and found this hole, then everything went dark. Carl looks down. Same here, I followed Carl. We both looked at Carl, but he doesn't say anything, instead just moving past Raven into the large kitchen next to the dining room. I hobble after him, then reach out to lean against the counter. I try to gather my thoughts. Everything still feels so dreamlike, surreal, and my thoughts are sluggish. Carl, do you have any idea what happened? I mean, that hole, did you go there too? Carl sets his hands on his hips, still eyes wandering around the room. Huh. Honestly, I can't remember anything that happened after the lake, man. Raven casts a sidelong glance at me before moving next to Carl. Excuse me. Well, maybe it'll just take you a second before you can remember. I was really confused when I woke up here. I was curled up over there on that counter. Raven points to a marble-topped counter, under a row of over a dozen pans hanging from a fixture attached to the ceiling. We stand there in silence as I imagine we have individually absorbed the situation we're in. Carl, are you sure this isn't some extension of your house? Maybe something that leads out of the crawl space? The ram laughs, but it definitely isn't genuine. Dude, I think I'd know if this was some part of my house. Unless my parents have just been building this secret kitchen underground for who knows how long. I glance at the lighting, which is definitely electric, then over at what looks like an electric stove. While everything sort of looked old-fashioned, there was a mixture of modernity to it as well. Where else could we be? Raven and I remember going to the crawl space, then losing consciousness after we hit that hole. After we found that hole, which is where you went, Carl. Carl finally does turn to me at that point, his brow furrowed. Huh. Do you think I had something to do with this? Even though I was implying that he might know more, Carl's sudden jump to being defensive catches me by surprise. No, I just wonder if you might have any more ideas since it's your house, you know? Carl laughs again. I'm struck by the fullness of it. Usually when Carl laughed, it was crackly and half-hearted. Now it's loud and a little abrasive. Think I just waited in the shadows and drugged up you all with acid or some shit? I don't respond, just watching Carl as he stares back at me, breathing hard. Raven coughs loudly. Hey, guys, let's calm down, you know, I'm kind of hungry. Why don't we make some food? That seems to break Carl out of his stare down with me as he looks over at Raymond and huffs out one of his more characteristic chuckles. I seem to yawn whenever I'm in this room. Really, Really, Raven? Yeah, well, that always makes me feel better. Raven starts opening cupboards, but each one is empty. Carl turns back to me, frowning. Sorry, Chase, I'm just fucking freaked out too. The thing is, I don't know where in my house I don't even know if I don't think we're in my house anymore. He chuckles again. I mean, are we even in Echo? What time is it anyway? I reach in my pocket to check my phone, and that's when I remember I have a fucking phone. I almost jump with the realization and shove a hand into my pocket and pull it out. Why didn't I think of that before? What? My phone! I pull it out excitedly, hitting the button to turn the screen on, and am met with a black screen. My phone's dead. Are you kidding me? I hold the power button down, but nothing happens. I look up to see Raven and Carl getting similar results. Raven shaking his as if that's going to help. Carl shakes his head. We were out that long. This is crazy. I press a hand to my face for a moment, the idea that this could still be some sort of dream coming to mind. I remember after taking an overnight job back when I was a freshman and how that had fucked up my sleeping schedule. That in turn gave me all kinds of fucked up realistic dreams. Sleep paralysis plagued me to the ends of my wits, and I remember one time I thought I'd never be able to get up. I was stuck in bed, but each time I sat up and thought it was over, I thought it was over, I ended up sort of waking up again, still lying down, stuck in paralysis. Dreams within dreams within dreams. No food, either. My scattered thoughts collect together long enough for me to decide on the next course of action we should take. Alright, this is stupid. We should go out and look around. We'll find the way out eventually. Yeah, we need to do that. I looked around a little, but I didn't find anything. I grip the counter a little more tightly as I feel a slight wave of dizziness come over me, making everything feel even less real. But the pain that's shooting up from my ankle is very real, and just a glance down at the ever-growing swelling confirms it. A suspicion that we'd have somehow been drugged grows, but I don't want to upset Carl again, so I don't mention it. Okay, yeah, let's just stick together and go. We'll find the way out. I'm hungry. We can eat when we get out. There's no food here anyway. I turn around, and even though I do it as lightly as possible, the moment I set my right foot down, it feels like 100 needles press into my ankle. Oh, fuck! Carl's at my side instantly, reaching out a hand to steady me. Dude, you alright? What happened? I lean all my weight on the counter at that point. Just letting my foot dangle as I hold it off the ground is painful. He fell down a ladder and landed on his foot wrong. What? But it's only now that it's really starting to hurt. I say it through gritted teeth. The pain is actually making me sweat, and I'm realizing that I might have done more than just sprain it. I don't think I can walk like this. How did you fall down a ladder? He woke up in an attic. Here. Carl hunches down in front of me. My stupefied brain thinks of a butt sex joke, but I manage to keep it canned. You sure? I could just lean against you. That'll take too long. Besides, it looks like you can't walk at all right now. Hesitantly, I let go of the counter and let myself sort of fall forward onto the ram's back. He's sturdy and barely budges as I lean all my weight into him. Carl reaches back with both hands and hitches my legs off the ground as he stands, and I feel all the muscles in his back flex as he does. Damn, Carl, you work out? Carl grunts. Little bit. I move my head to the side to keep from knocking my nose against his horns. It's a smart move because just then Carl nods his head in Raven's direction. Hey, I know this is kind of fucked up, but maybe grab a kitchen knife? Raven raises an eyebrow at Carl. Why? I immediately see what Carl's getting at. We have no idea where we are, or who put us here. It might be safe to be ready to defend ourselves, you know? And you said you saw something in the smoke. Raven's eyes widen, but he reaches out to slowly pull a knife from a silver-looking knife block. The husky frowns at the shing sound it makes. His ears down and elbows in. It's clear he's never used anything as a weapon before. But I can't blame him. Neither have I. I don't know if I should be the one to do it, though. Well, you're not strong enough to hold Chase, so I've got my hands tied. He looks back at me. If anything happens, though, I'll have to drop you and help him out, okay, man? I chuckle softly. Yeah, no problem. Let's just hope that doesn't have to happen. And with the shaky husky in the lead, we set off back into the hallway. Immediately, it's clear that wherever we are isn't very large. 4 identical hallways lead us around in a perfect square. Each hallway has 3 doors on the right, 1 on the left, and a hatch in the ceiling that leads up to the attic. What also becomes immediately clear is that the door on the left leads to into the kitchen, but from the kitchen there's only that 1 door out. Each time we open the door to the kitchen, we come to realize that the angle in which we enter it is the same. First time this happens, we're mostly just confused, wondering if maybe we backtrack somehow. After the second time, though, Raven laughs. This isn't real! We're on drugs or something. But we're all seeing the same thing? Or I'm just having this dream and none of you are real, eh? Dusky's voice is bordering on crazy. That paired with his grin, paired with him holding a knife, is slightly disconcerting. Carl huffs, hitching me up higher on his shoulders. Alright, calm down. Just don't think about it. Let's try the other doors. I'm a little surprised at how well Carl is taking all this. I wonder if part of it has to do with any of the weed that might still be in his system. Nope. Alright, guys, I'm gonna pause it right there. Wow, this is fucking weird. This is incredibly strange. We didn't experience anything like this in the other runs. Any waking up in some kind of weird tiny house or basement or attic. This is also strange, man. It's like every playthrough, every path, there's a deeper mystery to uncover, and I love it. It's awesome. It's making every run unique. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!